To every single one of my amplified unit members, from my red team, go, to my channel members, activate those gold cards. SmackDown, May the 12th, 2023. Let's get amplified. We have a packed, amped up podcast today, featuring and focusing on SmackDown from last night. Roman 3 belts, or Roman 4 belts. He'll probably claim solos as well if they were to win these tag titles. Roman 4 belts. At that point, where does it end? Roman all belts. Maybe they want to keep the new world title on SmackDown so Roman can get that as well. Roman every belt. How's that? The collector of belts, Roman Reigns. We're going to talk about what I am talking about. BC, if you missed the show, you're probably like, what is BC talk? What did they do? Tell me he's not going for more titles, BC. Well, I can't tell you that. I can't. We'll go over it in just a little bit. We're also going to talk the finals at Night of Champions for this new World Championship, representing the red brand, Sethington Rollins, and representing the blue brand, AJ Styles. And I know, the wrestling world's like, wow, this is going to be such a good wrestling match. True. I mean, it's pro wrestling. We can see great pro wrestling matches at the local bingo hall every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? You could see great wrestling across 87 different promotions at just the press of a finger and a button. Right? Great wrestling isn't hard to come by. Wrestlers are being pumped off the assembly line, like Amazon distribution centers shipping out little brown boxes. Pro wrestlers are on that assembly line, right? Everybody is a really good pro wrestler in terms of athletics, in terms of moves and what they can do. Pro wrestling is more than that. Larger than life characters, storylines that we give a shit about, feuds that we need to pay our money for to see them culminate. Right? That's what pro wrestling is. And AJ versus Seth, all you're selling me on is it's going to be a good match. But you know how we already know that? We've seen it. We've seen it more than once. Maybe you guys forgot about it. Well, that doesn't bode well for this match if you've already forgotten them in the past. But BC does remember this match. I remember one of them. Wasn't it like champion versus champion or something like that? So see, I'm forgetting a little bit too because it wasn't that well done. But Sethington versus AJ Styles. I've seen it before. Whether you remember it fully or not, you have seen this before. More than once. And it's okay. In pro wrestling, you're going to see rematches. We've seen Stone Cold versus The Rock numerous times, for instance. And other really good feuds. But what's captivating me to this match, other than it's a good the goal at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that gold shiny belt. The participation trophy will finally be put on somebody's shoulder or around their waist. Okay. Man, I don't know how excited you guys want me to be for AJ Styles and Sethington. I think it would have been much more fun with somebody like Edge. I think you could do a lot more with somebody like Edge. Beggars can't be choosers. It's good to see AJ Styles back. I've been calling for it since 2 years ago when he started holding the hand of Omos. I said, where the fuck is the AJ Styles, the main eventer? That is one of the best wrestlers in the world today that we actually care about. Why is he being booked like a chump for 2 years? So beggars can't be choosers. At least AJ Styles is catapulting back to a main event scene, so I'll accept that greatly. It's an odd choice that would be a final for this new runners-up championship. And if that upsets you that it's called a participation trophy, that it's called a runners-up championship, first of all, WWE is calling it that in the storyline with Paul Heyman calling it that. And on top of that, that's what it is. It was created because, in Paul Levesque's words, nobody can take it from Roman Reigns, and Roman's is working such a limited schedule anyway. It's going to be hard to take it from him, so we're going to create a new championship. It's just a weird final to me. Two faces that I've seen before several times in that ring, and I'm just going to watch a rematch with two faces to claim this participation trophy. I don't know how excited you want me to be, other than all of us saying, it's going to be a good wrestling match. Well, good. We're going to see a good wrestling match on a wrestling show. Awesome. Let me go ahead and pay my fucking $10 for the Peacock to watch this match. I don't know how excited you guys really are for this. And Asuka turns heel. Awesome. Awesome. Should have been done before fucking Mania when it was half-assed done. Remember when she did not want to coexist with Bianca? And she kind of like just took her out and then left the ring, and I said it should have been more of a beating so we have a definitive heel turn, but it never really happened. And then here we are last night, and it looks like a much more, and we talked about it in the Amped Up podcast yesterday. We discussed this. We discussed how the word going around is Asuka, when she returns, is turning heel, and BC kind of gave you a spoiler, and BC told you his exact thoughts on that. I'm not going to waver on those thoughts. Here we are 12 hours later. I'm going to tell you the same exact thing I told you yesterday. This should have been done before Mania. And even though that segment last night was rushed, it was way more planned out than anything they did before Mania. And now we're going to rehash this because clearly they don't have enough time to do anything different with Bianca. So they're going to bring back Asuka to do the job yet again at Night of Champions in Saudi to Bianca. What does this do for Asuka? And that's not even Kana Asuka anymore. She came out with no face paint. Looking like a schoolgirl, and that's actually a compliment because she's over 40 years old, I believe, or at least 40. You would never think that. She looks like she's fucking 25 tops. But she comes out, she's so tiny, she's got that fresh face. What are you going to do against this big bad Bianca Belair? Bianca looks like she'll eat you alive. At least with the face paint and the getup. Asuka looks 3 feet taller. Another 30 pounds added onto her, you know. She looks like a grizzled vet that she is. I don't know. She comes out, she delivers the... And I'm like, well, where was this before Mania? This is the Asuka we wanted to see. That's the Asuka that should have beaten Belair at WrestleMania if you were just going to swap the titles anyway. Bianca has no business swapping titles, especially one that she has defended so prestigiously, or at least we would have hoped that that's what she was doing the whole time. And now she's just going to take this title that she defended for so long and go, here you go, you can have it. Let me take the blue one. It totally devalues the brand split and any prestige that these wrestlers have in the brand that they are on. It devalues it when you can just say, all right, give me that title and I'll give you this one. And if you're wondering, they still haven't done the title swap. You know why? Because they know it's stupid. They know it makes no sense, and they know that it greatly hurts the talent that has to swap the titles, swapping them like it's Halloween candy. I'll give you a Kit Kat, you give me a Hershey bar. I'll give you my Raw Red Women's Championship, you give me your SmackDown Blue Women's Championship, and we'll call it a day. They know it's stupid. And they're trying to fumble around ideas in their dome piece. How do we do this without the entire wrestling community absolutely laughing at us? That's why you see Bianca parading around a Raw Red brand last night title still. We're going to go over all that, guys. We're going to go over all of it. Cameron Grimes. Listen, I'm not going to rag on this too much. This was a complete squash match over Corbin. I'm not going to rag on it because at least the right person won, but that's what you had for the debut. Kind of like his NXT debut. You guys remember that? BC does. And then we're also going to talk about Bayley going for tag title gold. And Bayley got defeated last night. And I love Liv, and I'm okay with Liv winning. The champion should be winning. No hot potato with the titles. But can you get creative with Bayley and Dakota losing this match? Can you at least get creative in a way that makes Bayley and Dakota look good, right? EO gets involved, so you're thinking, hey, this is good. Maybe this will end in a good way, making even the losers look good in defeat. No, wait till you guys hear how Bayley got defeated last night. I hope you went to the grocery store. That's all I am going to say. And again, as I started this cold open of today's Amped Up podcast featuring the SmackDown review from last night, 5/12/23, just like I opened up this teaser cold open, Roman Reigns is at this point going for all the belts, it looks like. Starting now with the tag titles. I'll tell you guys what I mean. I know a lot of you guys don't watch the show. You just listen to BC. I'm going to tell you exactly my true feelings, as if you didn't already get a good vibe of how I feel about this show in the teaser cold open. Wait till you hear my Amplify thoughts when we really break this show down. Let's do it, man. I'm going to get a huge swig of my Dunkin' extra coffee. Come on back and let's break this show down like only we can do. We the ones, the rest in this community, far distant twos. Let's get amplified. Ah, man, I feel like they put a lot more sugar into this coffee today, which I'm okay with, man. BC runs on caffeine and sugar anyway, so load it up. I just feel like somebody was heavy-handed with this coffee today. Salute unit. Before we get into this show, again, this is the Amped Up Podcast, a weekend show for you guys. Amped up for, what is it, Saturday, May the 13th, 2 weeks from today, is the next premium live event pay-per-view, Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. And what I didn't even put into the teaser, you heard it right when I said Roman was going for tag titles. We're going to talk all about it. That means Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, at this point anyway, I don't know if this is actually going to happen or over the next 2 weeks they're going to do some type of schmaz where they drop the titles beforehand. But as of right now, what they're telling us is that Sami Zayn is Saudi Zayn. He's going to Saudi. And if you guys know the story, it's not my place to educate you on something like this. This will take a lot more than even a 1 hour podcast to explain why Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, in support of Zayn, have never went over to Saudi. But there is supposedly what we're hearing is a lot more reconciling, or at least working together between entities. And that is allowing Zayn, I guess, to... I mean, this was just a few days ago that we started hearing reports of trying to restructure bridges that were burned down, so to speak. Just a few days ago, we heard that they were starting the process of working together or being more civil with one another. And just a few days later, Sami's already being announced to go over. I mean, it's happening so quickly. I don't know how you guys feel about all that, but it looks at this point like Sami Zayn is making and Owens is making their first appearances over in Saudi. Saudi Zayn. So we're going to get to that as well. I want to, before I go over the SmackDown show from top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end, a huge shout out to some of my super thankers down below. That thanks button down below, a way to tip the content creator. Never needed, always appreciated. All I ask is that you guys smash that up, help out the algorithm. But you guys refuse to just do that. You go the extra step and you throw the channel a coffee. You throw BC a Dunkin' extra. And yesterday, man, we had several super thankers. So I have to amplify thanks you guys right back. And I'll start off, who was the first super thanker, man? And by the way, John Cena, you had one from the podcast before, 2 days ago. It was a very late super thanks, but I did catch that, man. So John Cena, I appreciate that big time. I'd have to go back to that. Right now, I'm just on yesterday's, and I got to give a shout out to Mr. Rogers with a 5-spot coffee. Sending a thanks over to BC. Edge is freaking legendary, says Mr. Rogers, really backing the idea of him taking this whole thing. Unfortunately, that did not happen, Mr. Rogers. And what actually transpired last night, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in just a few minutes. because that was the first match of SmackDown. What actually happened kind of shocked BC. The fact that this dude didn't just lose, but he took the pin. We're going to talk about it. Mr. Rogers. I agree with you, though. I was actually backing the idea of Edge. I think the story with that title could have been epic. Some really good matches. The losing of the title and then the subsequent retirement of Edge would have been just brilliant, man. So it kind of sucks they didn't go that way just for another rematch, AJ and Seth. Ash Stegmeister Steggles was just telling us if I did a live stream of SmackDown either last night or today, which unfortunately timing-wise didn't work last night or today, but just saying that he had some work to do, so he wasn't going to be available. Stegmeister, smash it out, man. I appreciate the coffee as always. Always good to see you up in here. No live stream anyway, so no harm, no foul. Jack Brewer with a 10-spot. Couple of coffees, man. That's a 10-spot super thanks. Damn. Not even a live stream. Jack Brewer's sending a huge thank you. Jack Brewer, man, I appreciate you. Thanks, BC, for keeping it real like you always do. Edge should win. Give him a good reign. He could drop the title to Finn Balor or heel Drew at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania next year. It will be a great way for Edge to retire the right way. We were just saying that. Who was it? Mr. Rogers with that $5 super thanks. I totally agree, Jack Brewer. There's so many ways you could have went with Edge. They decided against it, and it looks like it's going to be Sethington. Or maybe AJ gets it and Roman takes his title and the tag titles, and it becomes Roman every belt. Jack Brewer, man, big time. Thanks, and right back to you. And again, John Cena from 2 podcasts ago. Big time thanks to all you guys. And if I missed any other super thanks, it will absolutely pop up because it stays in a highlighted comment for the entire week. So I will absolutely get it if I missed any. But wanted to say thank you right back to those that sent BC a coffee in yesterday's podcast. And James Shrimp Fajitas, a special shout out, man. My channel member of the week. Celebration, James Shrimp Fajitas. Every week we're going to pick a new channel member of the week. It's at random. It's through an auto-generator. I just put all the fucking current channel members auto-generate, and wherever it stops on a name, that is the channel member of the week. So technically, you could become channel member multiple times. It's the way it is, man. Which might upset people. But you see, James Shrimp Fajitas got it 5 weeks in a row. I'm not controlling it, bro. I remember one time, guys, we'll get to the SmackDown review. Relax. It's a podcast. Put in the earbuds, do what you got to do, and just listen. You don't got to watch BC. These things could take over an hour, 2 hours. You know when BC starts shooting the shit, it could go a while. But that reminds me of when I was a little younger BC and I was working retail. I'm always just amplified, guys. I'm not one of those workers that shows up and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait till the day is done. I watch the clock and I kind of mope through the day and I don't want to be there. No, whatever the task is, let's go. Like if I got 10 pallets that I have to unload onto the floor, come on. Like if it's retail, for instance, and I'm stocking, right? And a truck comes in with 10 pallets. I'm not moping around. I want those 10 pallets done in 3 hours. And you say, well, BC, that's going to make more work for you afterwards because the pallets are done and they're going to find something more. Let's rock. Let's rock. It's going to get me more pay. When it comes time for a raise, I'm going to get that extra $1, or even if it's 50 cents, 75 cents, I don't care. I'm getting it. You're going to know I'm the best of the best. And when I'm going to complain, I have every reason and right to. It's justified. So I put myself on that pedestal to the point where management had no choice but to. So when they used to do Employee of the Month, no kidding, man, it actually became a problem. I was Employee of the Month at one point 3 months in a row. Employee of the Month at this one place. 3 months in a row, I got this, guys. And they do it every month, not every week. And every month, I kept becoming the Employee of the Month. It got to the point where I could see people were getting pissed off. Because they're like, this fucking BC again, man. He's running circles around us. But there was nothing else they could do. I was leaps and bounds above the rest. I mean, I was amplified, man. I was putting out 10 pallets in 2 hours. It would take fucking 5 people all day to put out 10 pallets. Shit like that, right? So finally, I had to go into management. I said, you know what? Guys, you can't give it to me next month. You can't give me a fourth one, man. You're putting a lot of heat on BC here, because I got along with everybody, but you could tell like they were getting pissed off. So I finally had to tell management, listen, give it to somebody else. I appreciate it. I remained amplified, and they gave me rewards in much better ways. More money, right? I got the first like $2 raise in that certain company's like history for a regular like 9 to 5 type of an employee. I was the first one ever in company history. So I got a lot of other perks. But that reminds me, but that was done on performance. This is just auto-generated. So for the first week ever, it's James Shrimp Fajitas. If that channel member, James, gets it again next week, it ain't BC just picking it, guys. Salute to every single one of my gold card members, guys. I look at that list almost on the daily because the tube updates it every hour. Because sometimes people can't renew for the next month. So some names have to be taken off. And we always get new channel members. So it's updated all the time. And I love to just get a glance at all my gold card members. So special thank you to all you guys. All right, let's do this, man. Let's rock out the kick of the show. I got the teaser cold open done. I gave you some amplified thoughts in that cold open. I said all my thank yous right back to my unit. And now it is time to get amplified on this particular show. Now, I do have to say, I'm at least glad that WWE put some type of effort into the card, right? The card was stacked for the most part. You got your 2 little triple threats in your mini tournament. Winners will take on each other in the main event. You got a tag title match for the ladies. You have Roman finally showing up to work after a month and a half. He hasn't been seen since Mania. And he wasn't wrestling or anything, just kind of setting up something for the future, obviously. We'll go over that. So you had Roman coming back. You had the debut of Cameron Grimes. So they stacked the card on paper. Was it able to deliver? That's another story. We'll go over it. But at least they stacked the card against the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat and LeBron James and the Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors. 2 huge games. Elimination game, too, for my Knicks. If they lose, they're out. So this was big NBA doubleheader. And WWE decided to go head-to-head. Don't curl up in a ball and hide and cry in the corner when you have competition. Even if you're going to get beat, that's fine. But compete, man. If it's such a good game, at least make people during commercials switch the channel, right? Because that'll greatly help out your quarterlies. I said it in a recent podcast. AEW gave a fuck this week. Finally, they put together from top to bottom a decent show, bare minimum, and pretty damn good and solid in many areas. And what happened because AEW did that? They brought in 100,000 viewers against stiff NBA playoff competition. Same games. LeBron James and the Lakers. My Knicks were facing playoff elimination then as well. They just happened to have won. But see what I'm saying? If you produce a good show, it's what I've always told you guys. It's not about just beating your competition. It's at least sending a zinger back, punching back, delivering your best show imaginable. I don't know. I mean, nobody has been doing that lately, but at least produce a damn good show, solid. And you're going to see the results in your ratings. If your ratings suck and they tank, it's not just because of playoffs or presidential speeches or holidays or big Monday Night Football games. It's not because of that, guys. It's because you didn't put together a good show from top to bottom. It was not must-see TV. It didn't make anybody tune in during commercials even. AEW showed you. Because before those ratings even came out this week, we were all talking about, hey, AEW put together a decent show. You had some returns, solid main event, some good story progression. Right? We all said that. And then the rating came out and showed you that everything we were saying sparked 100,000 viewers returning to the show. They're still struggling. They're still around 850, which is their new normal. And they have to get back to the bare minimum 950 just so we can start to talk about 1 million plus. But at least they pulled 100,000 back against stiff competition. WWE said, you know what? Let's at least punch back. They fell from a 2.5 on SmackDown to last week a 2.04. They're fucking around. Bare minimum 2 now. If you go a few tens thousands less, you are now in the 1.9s. And that's SmackDown. They were fucking around with 2.5s and 2.6s for a while. They said, you know what? We cannot do this. Let's not sink below 2. Let's fight back. They did that. We'll see if it works. It was against stiff competition. We'll see if they can at least pull a 2-1. 2-2, they'd be ecstatic. But on paper, it looked good, and that's what matters to BC, man. Show me that you're caring. Give me a little bit of effort. The fans these days are showing more effort than the suits and ties. The fans are more amplified than WWE itself, pro wrestling in a nutshell. So on paper, it looked pretty good. It was stacked. Now all they got to do is produce. Did they do that? Let's find out. Triple threat match starts this off. SmackDown, May 12th, 2023. 2023. I can speak. More coffee, BC. Triple threat SmackDown final portion of the World Title Tourney. First triple threat of the night. They actually had them back-to-back. First 2 matches of SmackDown. So the first one was Edge versus AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio. This bout from bell to bell went about 15 minutes in length. AJ Styles pins Edge. Edge in this match. Well, first let me just go to the pin. Edge getting pinned actually shocked BC a bit because over the last 24 hours before that match, something started to happen in pro wrestling. And I made the bulk of the second podcast yesterday. Oh, no. The double podcast was Thursday. Yesterday, we only had one. And the bulk of that podcast, amped up, was how Edge has this huge support from fans. Even Booker T, Thunder Rosa, wrestling personalities are saying Edge has to win this. Edge came out with a 2-minute promo at his home gym talking about he has to get this win for his legacy. This is finishing his story. So everybody was going all out. And Edge is talking about how meaningful this match is, and this is the only way that his story can be finished. He has to win this match and win the whole little mini tournament and get this title. And that night, he's eating and out looking up at the lights. It was just so odd. It was an odd... Not that I need to see Rey Mysterio lose another match because he's so 50-50 booked. And by the way, I keep seeing this. Guys, we lost. I know I mentioned my Knicks. We lost, guys. Sadly, this has to come down until next season. Much love and respect to my Knicks. What a season, man. We made it back to the playoffs. It felt like an entire century. It was only 10 years, but that's still a fucking decade of no playoffs. But to my Knicks, thank you. What a year. We were just no match for the Heat. They kicked the shit out of us. So, that is what it is. You got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try it again, as a famous singer once said. But to have Edge eat this L, I know Rey Mysterio is 50-50 book. You don't want to see him take another L, but bro, I mean, Edge just flat out losing, looking up at the lights. That was a questionable call to BC. I personally would not have done that type of finish, even if you're trying to go AJ Styles. On top of that, Edge was off. Edge, this was one of the worst Edge matches I've ever seen, and Edge doesn't really do well with triple threats, fatal fours, things like that. He's had a few gems in his career, triple threat, fatal four, those type of multi-man schmazes, but normally Edge is off in these type of matches. Several years ago, if you guys remember, it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Edge WrestleMania and a championship, and I told you guys that has to be one-on-one, and there was this outcry in a portion of the community, and I don't know what they were thinking, man. They wanted Daniel Bryan added to the match, and A, it would not have made sense. B, it's going to make the match messier. It's going to be a much less leveled match than if we just got Edge and Roman. And C, did I mention it doesn't make sense? It doesn't. And they decided to go that route. All these cries in the community got to Stamford, Connecticut, and they go, all right, we got nothing for Daniel Bryan anyway. Let's just throw him in the match. Sure enough, guys, that match did not live up to expectations. In fact, a few months later, I forgot if it was like Money in the Bank or something like that, but Edge did go one-on-one with Roman, and that match was better than the Mania triple threat with Daniel Bryan and Roman. So it shows you that BC was correct all along. That should have always been a one-on-one match. No reason to put Edge in a triple threat. And to back me up, Bryan Danielson himself, Daniel Bryan, till this very day, says he doesn't know why he was in that match, and it felt awkward and just off the entire time, the lead up and the match. To this day, Daniel Bryan doesn't know why he was in that match. And they had him like begging for that match in the storyline too. Put me in, man. I know I didn't earn it, and I didn't win all the correct matches, but just put me in. And even Daniel Bryan felt that was off. It's really good to know when the talent just knows what's right and wrong, you know? But here's Edge in another triple threat, and this was like another level of bad. There's a word that we use in the wrestling business, a clunker, right? Right, wrestling fans today overuse the word banger. It was a banger. I hate that word. It's so overused, and every match could easily be that because everyone's a good wrestler. But the opposite of that is a clunker. This for Edge, unfortunately, and don't take my word for it if you don't, and trust me, I was going for Edge in this match, guys, and I have the utmost respect for Edge. One of the only guys in pro wrestling that when he comes through the curtain makes you feel something. There's only a limited amount of those individuals. So it pains me to say this, trust me. But if you go back and watch yourself, if you didn't, or maybe you did and you missed some of the part, go back and watch. This was an absolute clunker for Edge. I had a very good friend who was leaving around the time SmackDown started. And she literally said, and this was a quote, because she saw the first several minutes of the match, and she said, "Is he drunk?" I would not joke about that. I would never she said, "Is he drunk?" Because Edge was so off. And I gave out a little bit of a laugh, but I'm like, actually, no, but that is, man, Edge just seems so off. And as the match progressed, he was even more off, and he got even worse. There was one spot where Edge, what the fuck? Rey Mysterio, my bad. Rey Mysterio was going to go for a double 619, right? There was a setup where Edge and AJ Styles were supposed to both go chest onto the second rope. Edge went to the opposite side of the rope, the other side of the turnbuckle, realizes it, and just totally gets up and switches sides. And it was like, can you make it a little bit more seamless? There was also another spot where I believe, was it Ray? Ray was jumping off the top rope, top turnbuckle, and Edge was supposed to deliver a spear. Edge instead just like awkwardly taking his sweet ass time, just struggles to get to his feet. Ray lands into his shoulder, and Ray just lands backwards, and Edge is just like trying to pick up Ray, but Ray's like, dude, no, I'm supposed to stay here. You're supposed to spear me. Edge totally missed the spear spot. Guys, I'm just giving you some. None of this is in my notes. I'm just thinking back to some of the massive botches from Edge last night. This was a clunker. And I guess if you're going to lose a match that makes people scratch their heads and go, what the fuck, this dude should have won, I guess if you're going to lose that type of match, this is the match to do it. Because he did not put in his best performance. This is one of the worst Edge performances BC has ever seen. I don't know if he's just showing his age. I don't know if he realizes that, and that's why we're starting to hear more and more chatter about retirement that is imminent. Very, very soon, retirement. I mean, he's picking up the retirement talk a lot more. He is looking a bit older, and this is more than just losing a step or two. This was really bad. And again, it pains me to say that. This is a critique show of the show, guys. Not more I can do, right? We're critiquing the wrestling show. This was a very big first match of the night, and Edge was just off. Clunker he put up, and he ends up looking at the looking up at the lights. So even booking turned their backs on Edge last night. Just a bad night for Edge in general. Edge looks up at the lights, and AJ Styles defeats Rey Mysterio and Edge in one match. Phenomenal. No, we'll go for that. Yeah, I'm about to give away the main event, and we just started the SmackDown review. We'll go over the AJ Styles main event of SmackDown later in the night, because to get to that, we have to go over who his opponent's going to be. The second match of the night was the second triple threat match. Sheamus versus Bob versus Theory. Bob, of course, Lashley. Theory, of course, Austin. Referee Jessica Carr was calling this matchup. This was also 15 minutes roughly in length, bell to bell. So both matches given approximately 15 apiece. Now, in this matchup, you're going to have Theory eating the L. Lashley pins Theory off of a Sheamus bro kick. So this is how they've been ending a lot of their triple threats lately. Somebody will do their power move, and then that person gets taken out by the third person, and the third person just collects the W over the second person's finisher, but then he got thrown over, if that makes sense. We've been seeing a lot of that. So Sheamus does the dirty work, and then he gets chucked, and then Bobby's able to just freshly clean. So fresh and so clean. Defeat Austin Theory looking up at the lights. Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley, I've been seeing them wrestle 1,000 times since last year. And they just keep on facing each other, and this is no longer fun for anybody. And here, you just had Lashley pin Theory again. My question would be, why is it... Not that I wanted this guy to win. I still don't even know why Austin Theory is in this match when Gunther is not in this match. And Gunther was champion longer than Theory for the mid-card titles. The IC champion was champion longer than Theory had his title. And Gunther has been way more dominant. But Gunther doesn't even have an opponent or anything for Night of Champions. You know what they're going to do on Raw? I heard that they're going to do like a battle royal or some shit. And the winner is going to take on Gunther for his title at Night of Champions. This is what I'm hearing. I'll find confirmation on that as soon as this podcast is done recording. But that's the word I got just about 20 minutes before we went live with this recording anyway. So Gunther, it looks like they don't really have plans for, but they chuck Austin Theory into this match. It doesn't make sense. Why would one get in, but the other mid-card title holder isn't nowhere near the conversation? So I'm not saying he should have won, but I also hate when your champions lose nonsensical matches. Nonsensical meaning the title's not even on the line. We don't know why the person's even in the match, and that champion still loses. I'll never understand that shit. Theory is in this match, which mind boggles us, and then dumbfoundingly, he just loses flat on his back looking up at the lights. I'm not sure that we need to see Sheamus looking up at the lights, but this is what I mean about the booking. Booking matters, man. Very odd. Lashley wins, and it's a weird main event for later in the night. Two faces. I still look at Lashley like a face. I never know what he is anymore. He's one of those dudes that they have nothing for. They booked him so badly that fans don't even know if they're cheering or booing Bobby Lashley. They really don't. I still look at him more of a face. So it's two faces later in the night. AJ Styles versus Bob Lashley. And when it was all said and done, you're going to get two faces taking on each other at Night of Champions. This whole mini tournament has been poorly booked and massively botched. Bobby Lashley wins this match. And you say, well, BC, you're always saying Bobby Lashley needs better booking, man. He just won a big triple threat match. Wait till we get to the end of the night, and we're going to be talking about 50-50 booking and how it hurts these individuals. So hold on to that thought. Next up, to the moon. Cameron Grimes, one of my favorites in this industry, debuts with a 6-second victory over Baron Corbin. I can't even... That's no joke, by the way, guys. About 6 seconds is all it took. The bell rang. He did his fucking move. And Corbin was knocked out. 1, 2, 3. Grimes picks up the W. A la old school NXT debut. Badass. Cameron Grimes, officially a part of SmackDown. They were probably trying to shave time even before Roman went out there because they knew Roman had a long story to tell to get to the point of a tag title match at Night of Champions. And they also shaved what happened afterwards even more so, I feel, Bianca and Asuka. We'll get to that in a minute. But Cameron Grimes with a very, very quick squash match over Baron Corbin. This will obviously set up more of where Corbin is going character-wise, losing a bunch of matches, and saying, you know what? Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Old school Owen Hart. But we've already seen this with Baron, right? That's how we stumbled upon broke Baron. And he needed a change, and he hit the lottery, and he became Happy Corbin. And we saw that fall apart pretty quickly. Same thing here. You're just doing the same thing, man. If you think that him losing 1,000 matches in a row and then changing like his appearance or something happens and it's a change of character and all of a sudden we're supposed to be invested, we're supposed to care, it's just history repeating itself. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to think deeply of how you're going to get Baron Corbin over with the crowd. Same with Austin Theory, and that's with a title, and this guy's nowhere near it. And Charlie Flair. For 8 years, nearly 16 championships, almost. She's about to defeat her father in 2 more titles. She'll probably come back in on night 1, defeat Bianca Belair, become a 15-time champ. But Charlotte Flair, Charlie, is the same in the same boat. Charlie, after 8 years and 14 championships, still does not connect with the majority of the crowd. Baron Corbin, it is beyond crickets. Crickets, at least you can hear them. This is like negative decimals in terms of reception. So, I don't know. I see where they're going with Baron Corbin, and I can't say it's going to work. Cameron Grimes, on his first debut anyway. First debut. That would be the first, wouldn't it? On his debut, is already going to the moon. Love to see that shit. That was actually the end of hour 1. 2 triple threat matches and a Cameron Grimes debut squash over Corbin. Now, for hour 2, we go Bloodline. Bloodline. Roman Reigns returns to WWE after a month and a half absence. Now, that's no harm, no foul if you want to go away for a month and a half. Who gives a shit? There's already fucking over 100 people on that roster. We'll be fine. New stars will be made. Maybe. Who knows? The fact that you're the champion and you go away for a month and a half, that's the problem. Back in the day, guys, there used to be a 30-day rule. You had to defend your title in 30 days. President Jack Tunney would make sure of that. So even when Hogan was only wrestling once a month tops, at least he was making appearances, a few extra, superstars doing a promo, this or that. This guy just walks away for a month and a half after Mania. And people are like, yeah, I think it was the right decision, though. What? What happened at Mania? Just mind-boggling to me. So after 40 days, that's an accurate number. That's not embellishing. That's not exaggerating. 40 days of being away. Roman Reigns finally returns. Bloodline is in the ring. Roman is totally disrespecting the Usos. Saying that at, what was the last one? Backlash. That somebody finally came through besides him. And he gives Solo Sikoa all the credit. Now, this is making the Usos a little uncomfortable. They're like, well, we were in that match, bro. And then Roman Reigns demands that they apologize for even losing the titles at WrestleMania. Demanding that his cousins apologize. Like they're just insignificant bitches. And these are his equals. These are his cousins, man. And he literally goes up to Jimmy, who's like laughing. Jimmy's like, come on, Oos, man. We're not going to apologize. We did our best. And, we'll get him back. Come on, Oos. Tell me you're kidding. And he's smiling. And Roman shoves the face of Jimmy Uso. Shoves his face back 2 feet. Now Jimmy's like pissed, bro. Roman's like, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Roman goes to get closer to Jimmy. Jay cuts him off. At this point, the crowd is chanting something. I'm not sure what. Maybe you guys can tell me what that was in the chat. But I don't know what they were chanting. But WWE, their production, and Fox, most likely Fox, just being the bitches that they are, muted everything out. They literally muted the broadcast because the crowd was chanting something they didn't like. So Jay cuts Roman off before he was about to strike Jimmy again. And Jay says something. We're not sure what because it was totally muted by Fox and WWE production. They muted the entire portion of that out. And that was a big moment in that whole story development. That was a big moment in that segment. One of the biggest moments. Jay steps in and says something on the mic to Roman. Steps in front of his cousins. And we never heard it. We think it was, I apologize, Oos. Because he ended up saying that when the telecast went back to unmute. The next thing he said was, I apologize. So we think he just said it twice. But, guys, you cannot do that, man. That shit has to stop. Stop muting out the entire telecast. You're telling me that they can easily pipe in crowd noise, pipe in fake cheers, fake boos. They can plant actual fans. They can plant them from one arena to another for different situations. The production tricks that they use are downright criminal, actually. I mean, it's very, very... It's intricate, and it's phenomenal on one hand, And it's fucking horrible on another that they can easily just manipulate crowd response. But you cannot fade out a crowd chant and still let the actual live mics with the wrestlers, you can't let them be live. There's no technology that can do that. That shit has to stop where the whole broadcast comes to a complete mute or a complete black screen. We've seen that in the past too, where the whole screen just goes black because something is on there that they don't. It's like, cut the shit. We're not 5 years old, man. And because of that, we missed an important part of that segment, guys. I was actually pissed about that. I mean, they ruined... I mean, it was building until that moment where Jay steps in because he was silent till that point, and it was totally muted. You didn't hear nothing. Finally, they unmute it, and Jay is like, I'm sorry, Uso, I'm sorry. Jay says, just give us one more chance. One more chance, we'll get the tag titles back. Give us one more chance. Roman says, oh, we're going to get the tag titles back in the bloodline, but it's not how you think. Wise man, fill them in. Wise man, Paul Heyman grabs the mic and informs the Usos and the entire world that at Night of Champions, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will be taking on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa for the tag team championships. And then Roman adds insult to injury onto his cousins, the Usos. He says, we will reclaim dignity to the tag division and this family in honor of, because this match will be in tribute in honor of the greatest tag team in tag team history. And not the Usos, he says. He literally says, Afa and Sinka, the Wild Samoans. Afa and Sika. The Wild Samoans. I thought that was just that was actually a nice touch. The Usos are furious. Obviously, the Usos don't go to Saudi, I believe. Or did they make an appearance that last... Did they go to Saudi? No, that was Clash at the Castle, wasn't it? I forgot. I don't think the Usos go to Saudi, so that they couldn't go. Then again, we thought Sami Zayn and Owens could. Either way, there's a lot to digest here. All right, so the segment was actually well done. What it leads to is a lot of questions now, and I don't know if this is the right way to go. Roman and Solo are going for tag titles. Now, a lot of people are saying no harm, no foul. Sami and Owens will win this match. Not so fast. You don't understand how Vince and Paul Levesque think. They make outrageous, ludicrous decisions, man. And at the last hour, the last minute, they could go, well, wouldn't it be funny if Roman did get more gold? What if we just do that? And you could see Roman and Solo walk away with tag titles, and Roman has even more titles, and then he goes away for more weeks, and because he's already more part-time than ever before. So I don't know if Roman going for... It's an interesting concept. And if they do this the right way, then I'm down for it. I just cannot give this company the benefit of the doubt because they haven't earned it. On the flip side, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, this means that they have to go to Saudi. We heard just a few days ago, there's reports that, I don't want to get into the subject. You guys have to Google this yourself, find out if you're interested. But the reason that Sami doesn't go there, we're finding out that they're trying to ease tensions, these sides. And there's an opening for Sami to go there one day. We didn't think it would be a few days after the report came out. The path is so open that Sami's going there already to Saudi Arabia, and Kevin Owens never went in support of Sami Zayn. So this tag title match means that Sami Zayn is Saudi bound. He's Saudi Arabia bound. Saudi Zayn is what I'm calling it. Saudi Zayn. And Kevin Owens is also going to Saudi Arabia for the first time ever. I can't believe I'm saying that. I really can't. I thought those were two individuals that would never step foot there for reasons, again, that you'll have to go and read about, look into. I never thought that would happen. Or at least not in a very, very long time. Wow, man. Or are they going to find a way over the next couple of weeks, storyline-wise, to get those titles off of them? Do the Usos somehow get a title match first, even though they know it's going to piss off Roman, somehow win the titles, And Roman is so fucking pissed because he was going to go for the tag titles with Solo that he says, you know what, the match is still on, and they do Usos versus Solo and Roman. But then again, what if the Usos cannot go to Saudi? Because I'm hearing that the Usos, or from what I remember, the Usos cannot go. But I also thought that about Sami and Kevin, and it looks like Sami and Kevin are going. I don't even fucking know who can go where anymore. This shit is so confusing, man. I don't know. It all comes down to who can go and who cannot. If this is indeed Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and they can go, then this tag match is going on, man. And Roman could absolutely walk away Night of Champions with more of a champion than ever before. He could become Roman All Belts by the end of 2023. We know he's not losing the titles that he has now. He's not losing that until he defeats Hulk Hogan's 1,474-day reign. A lot of people thought it was going to end at 1,000. That's adorable. No. They're going for Hulk Hogan. That could always be changed, obviously, if they need to take the title off of him, yes. But right now, the goal is to surpass Hulk Hogan. So that takes us deep into 2024. I don't know, man. Hopefully I didn't confuse you guys. I have so many questions coming out of this segment from last night. And it went long, so long that the Bianca, Belair, and Asuka segment and the tag title match for the ladies. So basically all of the ladies segment afterwards, those got shortened. And they kind of got done dirty. They strategically put all the ladies segments on after the Roman segment because they probably told Roman to take all the time you need. We'll shave it off of the ladies segments. And that's kind of, that's an injustice, man. You can't just put them in those type of spots. And that was the next segment, actually, was the tag title match. Bayley and Dakota of Damage Control versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, your tag title holders. Now, there's been dissension and tensions in the Damage Control for several weeks now. Io was the odd woman out last night. It was Dakota and Bayley going for the titles. Io would play a pivotal part in this match. At the end of the match, Io caused a little bit of a distraction trying to use one of the tag titles. Raquel ripped it away from her. Bayley's like, what's going on? Liv Morgan defeats Bayley via pinfall. Liv Morgan defeats Bayley. And do you want to know how she defeated Bayley? Liv Morgan defeats Bayley via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. That's right, things got very fruity last night during this match when Liv Morgan defeated Bayley via the roll-up. Now, you guys know how I and most of us in the Amplified unit on this channel, how we feel about fruit roll-ups. They're overly done. It's a cop-out. It's an easy, lackluster, lazy way to finish a match for the bookers, the agents, for the talent. It is an easy way out, and it no longer even makes sense. It doesn't even look good. This match was not long enough for somebody to be held down for a pin. On top of that, do me a favor whenever you guys get a chance. Try to find a clip of Bayley getting rolled up last night, okay? Watch Bayley. Watch Bayley as she's being rolled up during the pin. Watch Bayley, and you tell me that that's not sad. She was just laying there. Because the roll-up is so stupid, right? Especially when you have somebody like Little Liv. And I've seen somebody like Ricochet defeat people like Braun Strowman and Omos's and shit, you know? I've seen Lashley fruit roll-up. Just giants over little people. Like they're going to be held down. Watch Little Liv trying to... And it was one of those roll-ups where like Liv's ass is on the ass of Bayley holding down the legs. Watch Bayley, guys. It is so fucking stupid. Bayley had to literally just lay there. She couldn't even move her shoulders a little bit because she knew if she does a little bit, she's accidentally going to kick out. Even if she moves a little bit, her shoulder is going to come an inch off of the canvas, and that would ruin the pinfall. So Bayley is just laying there. Just like, what's for dinner tonight? Like, not even kicking her. Nothing was moving. It was so stupid. Naturally, you would try to get out of it, right? No, because she knows even if she tried, she would accidentally kick out. That's why the roll-ups are stupid, guys. I hope you understand, man. It's not believable. It's lazy, lackluster booking anyway. And then when it's performed, it does nothing for Bayley, obviously. She loses via roll-up. It does nothing for Liv and Raquel. If you guys think that anybody today is thinking about Liv and Raquel as this dominant tag team championship coalition any more than going into the match last night, you're lying to yourself. Nobody's looking at them as more dominant this morning than we looked at them yesterday. This match does nothing because it was too short and the finish was stupidly bad. Stupidly bad. Watch it. Watch Bayley getting fruit roll up. Tell me that she can't just move her shoulder just a little bit. She didn't even try because she knew she would accidentally kick out. This tag match was garbage. And it sends more tension between Damage Control. No, BC, at least we get Damage Control breaking up in the near future. That's a good thing, right, BC? I don't care. I much rather would have seen a dominant Damage Control. I didn't mind them together. Bayley always wanted to add 2 more names and make it a real faction that's badass with really good booking. Instead, they were not given good booking. They weren't even given the time of day. They never really became badass. They became 50-50 booked and even worse. And on top of that, this breakup is going to take fucking 2 more months, it looks like. I don't need a breakup. I needed Damage Control to be booked properly because those are 2 or 3 really good pro wrestlers. Bayley, Io Shirai / Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Really good at what they do. You'd never know it in this stupid group. And it shouldn't even be stupid. It should have been diabolical. Badass. Vicious. When we think of Damage Control, we go, oh, this is going to be good. Now we think of Damage Control, we go, oh, how are they going to lose? A roll-up, obviously. Nobody can kick out of a roll-up. Not in pro wrestling in 2023. Bianca Belair is up next. Raw title reign celebration. Celebrating the Raw Championship reign on SmackDown. Makes total sense. She's still parading the Raw title. Well, basically, they wanted her to celebrate the Raw title. Then now she'll drop it. No, it's because they don't know how to do the swap. They already hear the rumblings in the community, in the universe. They already know that people are making fun of this and just, it's not even funny to a lot of us. It's just frustrating that they treat the titles like they're candy bars at Halloween. And we're just going to swap candy bars. I'll give you the Raw title. Hey, Rhea, you give me the blue title. And they don't know how they want to do the swap. I truly believe this company is so clueless, they don't even know how to do the title swap properly. Because they know that's all they have planned. They're just going to swap the titles. So she's out there having a Raw reign celebration. You got these giant balloons. It's in Knoxville, is it? Tennessee? Knoxville? I think Kane's mayor there, isn't he? So it's her hometown. They got the giant balloons and their university colors. And before she can say anything, and she looked great, by the way, Bianca, and the outfit she's wearing. Oh, my goodness. Montez always says this on social media. He says, God is good. He always says that every day almost. Or maybe it is every day. And I always see that popping up in certain boards. And now I know why he says God is good. I mean, he's waking up to Bianca Belair, bro. So anyway, before Bianca can even say anything, here comes Asuka. First time we've seen Asuka in 40 days. Maybe she was sipping martinis and margaritas with Roman Reigns the last 40 days at a vacation house. But Asuka finally comes down the aisle. And BC told you in yesterday's Amped Up podcast, I gave you a spoiler. I said the next time you see Asuka, don't be surprised if she plants the seeds of a heel turn or goes full out heel. Sure enough, BC was correct. She ended up going full heel-ish, I guess. I mean, if she jumped on Bayley after she did what she did, it would have been more of a vicious heel turn. But it was the same thing before Mania, when she decided she's not going to coexist with Bianca Belair, and she takes her out with the mist, but doesn't jump on her. And we were like, all right, that was a half-ass heel turn. And by WrestleMania, it was clear that they didn't go full throttle with the heel turn. So then we get last night, Asuka gets in the ring, shakes Bianca's hand, and then sprays the blue mist in Bianca's eyes. Bianca sells this like she's on fire. A little overly done, but I do like the effort put into it. It was overdone, though. I mean, she wasn't on fire. You just got the mist to the eyes. Perhaps this would have been more, it would have landed more had we not seen Bianca take the mist before, but we did. So, I mean, this was a little bit of an overreaction. And then Asuka doesn't even jump on her, right? Do a vicious attack afterwards. Show everybody you're a heel. It's almost like WWE still doesn't want to go full throttle with the heel turn. And no matter what, it looks like Asuka just came back to eat another L to Bianca. Because what's the alternative, guys? Are you telling me that you missed the biggest moment on the grandest stage, Kana Asuka with that Kana personality, defeating Bianca Belair on the grandest stage, finally collecting her first WrestleMania victory ever, because she's 0-5. They've never given Asuka a WrestleMania victory. So it would have been huge for her career at WrestleMania. And you made her lose just to sit at home for 40 days, come back, and in 2 weeks from tonight, defeat Bianca Belair? You didn't give her the biggest moment. You didn't give that. You decided not to do that for a much, much lesser moment on a much lesser scale. On a much lesser stage. When you knew Bianca was swapping the title with Rhea. So Bianca didn't even need to be the title holder after Mania because they're swapping titles, and the Raw title reign was what was supposed to be prestigious. Now Bianca's starting a whole new reign with a SmackDown title. Why not just have Kana Asuka win the title and then have Bianca go for the Blue Brand title? None of this makes sense. You guys know I'm right. Instead, they had Kana Asuka lose for no reason, had nothing for her afterwards, sat her home for 40 days, and we're still in the same position. Bianca's about to lose the Raw title branded belt, and just take the SmackDown one in a swap. So, and now it looks like Asuka's back to just take another L, because they don't have anything for Bianca. Not in 2 weeks' time, anyway. So Asuka's going to come back to take another L. Or you're telling me what, Asuka wins in Saudi Arabia in a rematch when she could have just done this correctly at Mania with a bigger moment and it would have helped Kana Asuka in her career path? Fucking A, man. Guys, you know, people that don't understand, they go, oh man, everybody thinks they can book. Man, everybody is a Monday morning quarterback. Right? Oh man, everybody's just always negative and saying what's wrong and like they can do any better. Guys, a fucking toddler with a crayon and a postie pad can do better than what we see. You know why? It doesn't even take creativity up front. Bare minimum, at first, it just takes common sense and logic. When you utilize those two things, common sense and logic, then you can go to creativity and start creating good shit. But if you're not even going to use or tap into common sense and logic, you're going to get what we saw at Mania Night 2, and you're going to get everything that comes afterwards, the ripple effect, the trickle-down effect, and shit trickles downstream. I cannot believe what they're doing with Asuka and Bianca Belair already. Main event, AJ Styles versus Bobby Lashley, the winners of their respective triple threats earlier in the night. Styles pins Lashley via phenomenal forearm. Not much to talk about. Lashley was busted up in the first triple threat, and he was busted up in this match as well, so he's sporting the crimson mask. The referee had his little gloves on. That's what they do. But he was okay to finish the match. AJ Styles wins this match, and that's what I mean. You know, Bobby Lashley got a big victory. Did he? He just set himself up for a bigger loss. It's like my Green Bay Packers. We can make the playoffs most years, but we suck in the playoffs. It's almost like, okay, we made the playoffs. Are we really going to celebrate if we're just going to lose in the first round like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers always do? No, that's nothing to celebrate. Making the playoffs with one of the best quarterbacks in the world, Aaron Rodgers, is not the goal. Not even a tiny goal. Winning our division, making the playoffs, those are not goals. And then we lose in the first round. Same thing with Lashley. You're going to celebrate that he won this not insignificant triple threat, and then he loses the big one yet again. What does this do for Lashley? On the flip side, congrats, and I'm proud of AJ Styles. I'm glad they're giving him big matches and big victories upon his return. I've been calling for that. I've been saying from day one, when this dude gets back from injury, they better catapult him to the dude that he is, and that we know he still is. One of the best wrestlers in the world. He can put storylines on his back. He can intrigue us and captivate us, no question. So I'm proud of that. I'm glad of that. I'm not contradicting that. That's great. But out of this whole new world title that was created, and the reason that people are calling it a participation trophy and a runners-up championship, and I use that term loosely, until it becomes dignified, it becomes prestigious, then I will call it a real championship. But this whole thing was done so badly, from Triple H announcing this shit and the reason why, to the way that we come about this, and SmackDown was added to this, even though Paul Levesque said it was supposed to be Raw exclusive, and then you have a champion like Austin Theory being added to it for no reason when Gunther isn't another champion. So none of it was making sense. And then when you go through the triple threats and you see how we ended up, AJ Styles versus Sethington Rollins. Yes, it'll be a good wrestling match, but you're still having a face versus a face in a rematch that we've seen multiple times in the past. I don't understand if this was... I don't think this was the best way we could have went, guys. And it looks like it's going to go to Sethington Rollins. And okay, for everybody that says, oh, Sethington earned it, BC. He deserves it. He put everybody over. Okay, my question, as I've asked this whole week on this podcast, how is this going to be any different than last year when they put the United States Championship on Sethington and nothing happened? It was boring. It was lackluster. The fans were giving no response. Booking had nothing for Rollins, even with a title. In fact, a lot of you guys responded to what I've been saying by saying, BC, I'll do you one better. When Sethington had the title, the world title beforehand, it started to become lackadaisical, lackluster, lazy, and bad. So Seth with a title doesn't actually generate a lot of interest. That's what we've been seeing. So I really do hope that this is going to be different, guys. But if you think that Sethington getting a title out of nowhere is going to be best for business and the best way to go for the months going forward, I beg to differ. Sethington with really good booking, I'm down with. Throwing a championship on Sethington and calling that good booking, I don't agree with. We'll see how it all plays out. AJ Styles, Sethington. What you're going to hear in the community for the next 2 weeks is, I don't give a shit. It's going to be a really good wrestling match and I'm good with it. Okay, we're going to get a good wrestling match because you can't see them anywhere these days. Not to mention, BC remembers their matches in the past, for the most part anyway. It's not a match that I need to see for a fucking newly crowned champion. Weird to me, man. Very weird to me. So this was a stacked card on paper. I cannot tell you that it delivered. It's a lot more questions than answered, and it's not the right type, right? A lot of times when things are done correctly, we have questions that we need to find out the answers to. It's interesting, right? It's intriguing us. These are questions that you just know WWE doesn't have answers to. So this was not the SmackDown I was hoping for. Some things were rushed. Some just bad wrestling with Edge. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if he was fully okay. Maybe we'll find out more. Maybe he got injured at the beginning of the match. I don't know. Roman going for tag titles. I don't know, man. It's interesting on one hand. On the other hand, whoa, is WWE really going to put the titles on him? Is Sami Zayn truly going to go to Saudi? Is it going to be Saudi Zayn? I don't know, man. I don't know. This show... I felt indifferent when it was over. I think that's the best way to put it. When it was all said and done, I was kind of like, huh. All right, that was a weird show. So we'll see what Monday Night produces. I'm hearing that Gunther, his number one contender for Night of Champions, is going to be decided on Monday. The only way WWE does it, instead of coming up with an actual number one contender through storylines, they're just going to throw a bunch of dudes in there and have a schmaz. That's what they do. Tournaments, battle royals, you name it, man. Multi-man schmazes. That's the only way they come up with number one contenders these days. Because doing an actual number one contender through a storyline takes too much effort and too much work. And they cannot be bothered in this company. So we're going to have a multi-man schmaz battle royal. And that's how Gunther's number one contender will be decided. I mean, I know you guys are just as tired of it as BC is. Unreal. So we'll do that on Monday. And tomorrow there could be a bonus amped up podcast. even though it's a Sunday. But there could be a bonus podcast. As always, you should be subscribed and notified anyway. That's obvious. So you'll be the first ones to know if a new Amped Up podcast comes up. You guys will have that right in your subscription boxes. But I do believe there's some topics I want to go over, and I might have some time tomorrow. So until then, I thank you guys big time. I know this probably most likely went over an hour. There was a lot to discuss, a lot of thank yous that BC had to send out to his amp unit. So I thank you guys, especially every single one of you that tuned in from minute 1 to the final minute, man. Over an hour, staying amplified with BC. Think, be, live, amplified, always. Until next time, and there will be a next time. Top guy, I'm out. BC saying check you.